Gordon, judging by the numbers of interviews you're giving these days, you must be the star of the race here. Do you ever get tired of being called the first Ironman?
In the past, I have started to get that way, but the longer I go at it, the more I realize that these people really are into this sort of thing, and who am I to deny them that sort of thing?
When did this attention initially start kicking in? When did that happen, roughly?
Well, I'd say it was probably at least 10 years after the first one, probably 1988. That was the first major anniversary, because the fifth anniversary doesn't really mean much. But the 10th anniversary, a lot of the originals came back, as well as we did in other 5-year increments after that. And that it's kind of interesting to see our pictures on the posters for the Ironman, so it was a bit of a shock.
And now you're here on Lanzarote racing your 22nd Ironman at the 22nd anniversary here at Ironman Lanzarote. Coincidence, or was that planned?
Total coincidence. I didn't know until I got here it was the 22nd. I've known about this race for quite some time and had planned to come here and just never got the opportunity until everything fell into place this year.
You see, people say Ironman Lanzarote is probably the toughest Ironman out there, but you've done it in 1978 under completely different circumstances on Hawaii. Was it the real deal back then, or is it still really tough these days?
It's actually tougher these days, I think. On Oahu, the difficulties we had were just traffic, because that's where all the people in Hawaii lived. Moving to Kona, then we had to deal with the wind and the heat. But now there's a wide variety of all the courses, and you never know what you're going to get.
You see, these days we got all the rules and regulations on how bikes have to look like and all those things. And there's a story, in your first race you actually raced on 2 different bikes. How did that happen?
Well, I did. My sponsor decided I needed to have a fast bike to have a chance to win. And so he rented a racing bike from a kid at the local bike shop. And it had a very small cluster on the back, so I didn't have any low gears. So by the time I got to Haleiwa, which was 75 miles into the race, I had a long climb and not enough leg left to use the gears I had, so I used my own bike that I did my training on, which wasn't a racing bike by any means, it was more of a touring bike. And it had the nice low gears, so I got to the top of the center of the island, and then being a heavier bike, I came down a lot faster too, so it actually was advantageous. And of course, there's no rule against having more than one bike back then. We didn't have any rules hardly at all.
You know, like coming here, you lost all your bags, or they are only arriving today, so you don't have any gear. You seem awfully relaxed, really. Is there no pressure at all anymore, or are you just a very relaxed person?
I'm generally a pretty relaxed person. I'm probably the most laid-back person I know, and my wife complains about that all the time. But I get things done when I have to. I work better under pressure, I think.
So I brought you a little something that we dug up. Do you remember what this is?
I know exactly what that is. That's the finishers list of the first year, probably written in Commander Collins' wife's hand. It's too neat to be his.
Too neat to be his. And here, let me show you. It's a little windy, but we'll show you what it's all about. So this is the handwritten finisher list of the 1978 Ironman, and of course it has your name on top with an incredible marathon. Did you know you can pull that off?
I suspected as much because I just run a 2:27 at the Marine Corps Marathon a month before that, so I knew I was the fastest marathoner in the field.
And then actually, was it the year after, or was it 1980 that you posted the fastest split again?
Actually, both years I had the fastest marathon. 79, it wasn't that tough. There wasn't really anybody fast. Even Tom Warren, who won the race, had a slower marathon time than I did. But in 80, something that not too many people have done, when Dave Scott won his first one, I had a faster marathon by 2 minutes than he did.
There you go. The man beat Dave Scott on the marathon. So that's not an easy one to do.
Not too many people can say that.
So when you race these days, you know, your 22nd Ironman, is there still a goal? Is there a specific time, or, you know, just a place you want to have in your age group, or is it just all the fun out there?
Well, it's kind of a combination. I always have fun out there, especially on days when things start to go wrong. I just back off because there's even less pressure when I'm not really racing, but there's no way I'm not going to finish. So there's that challenge is always there. Pressure-wise, I forgot what I was going to say on that one, too.
Let's do this one again, then.
Yeah.
You know, it's your 22nd Ironman that you're racing here, so is there still any pressure on, or are you just going out there and enjoying the race, or is there actually a goal you have for every race?
Well, I tend to have goals for every race, but sometimes the goal changes during the race. And sometimes the goal just wasn't realistic in the first place because I have a goal, a secret goal, and a super secret goal about how fast I want to go, and sometimes I have to fall back to just the plain goal that I've mentioned to everybody.
Since we're talking goals, is there a goal of a number of Ironmans you want to achieve in your life?
No, I used to have an idea of doing a lot more, but because of all the years that I've missed being able to do them, now I just intend to keep doing them until I can't do them anymore.
Sounds like a good plan. The sport obviously has changed a lot ever since your first Ironman, and it's gotten a lot more serious, sponsors involved and so on. What's your take on the change? Is it good or...?
Well, I think it's good to have professionals in the sport, and then the sponsors can get their say, and that can only help the sport grow if the people who make the equipment that we use in the race grow. I'm just totally amazed at how much it has grown, however.
Is there a race out there where you know, okay, I haven't done that yet, but I'm definitely going to do that?
There have been races over the years that I've thought about doing that. One of them I know I'll never get around to doing was the Leadville 100 as an ultra-distance trail run. I've crewed 3 times with the idea that I would be able to do it. And then I've always kind of wanted to do a double Ironman, and I have friends who invited me to do it. I have lots of friends who've done it, but as I get older, that seems to be more of a distant thing, too. And then there's the Pikes Peak Marathon. I always wanted to do that, too, and that was right where I lived in Colorado and just never got around to doing it.
When you went into your first Ironman there in 1978, nobody's done it before. Was it about winning, or was it just about accomplishing it? What was the plan?
Well, originally when everybody got together, it was just to see if we could do it. But John Dunbar and I were friends, competitors, and we decided to race it. Now, my idea was that I was going to win it first time I heard about it anyway, so I trained with that in mind, although I had always been doing workouts that combined all 3 sports anyway.
Well, perfect. So we're looking forward to seeing you again racing on Saturday, the 22nd Ironman, and I'm sure there's many more to follow, so we'll see you around. Wish you best of luck, and thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you very much.